Hi, and welcome to the final portion of today's program here on day 4 of this year's 3686 Festival, the second day dedicated to the umbrella of entertainment. My name is Maurice Miner, and while I've done some things like this for the Nashville Entrepreneur Center, this is my first time contributing to 3686, so I thank you for this opportunity. Especially because it means I get to introduce you to a person and a friend who has not only had an impact on my life and career, but has had and continues to have a huge impact on music and entertainment. Now, I could spend our entire allotted time listing his accolades and achievements, but here are a handful that I've selected. He's the best-selling solo recording artist of all time, with over 156 million in RIAA certified album sales. To put a little perspective on that, you could combine what U2, Fleetwood Mac, and Celine Dion have done in their careers and come close to that number. The first and only artist to receive 8 Diamond Awards for albums certified for sales over 10 million. His last tour, a 3.5-year outing featuring Trisha Yearwood, sold over 6.3 million tickets, making it the biggest North American tour in history. He's currently in the midst of his stadium tour, which has broken attendance records in every city and venue it's played, and was Pollstar's best-selling country music tour of 2019, and it is set to roll into 2022. He's a 7-time CMA Entertainer of the Year, another unmatched achievement. He also has his share of ACM awards, a couple of Grammys, even Emmy and Golden Globe nominations, showing the scope of his impact on entertainment. It is safe to say that this guy is multifaceted. He's a member of the Country Music Hall of Fame, the Grand Ole Opry, the Songwriters Hall of Fame, and earlier this year was awarded the Library of Congress's Gershwin Prize for Popular Song, putting him in the company of such greats as Paul Simon, Paul McCartney, Stevie Wonder, Carole King, Billy Joel, Smokey Robinson, and others. All that said, we're very fortunate to have him participating in 3686, and I'm fortunate to call him a friend, Garth Brooks.
That was very nice. Thank you.
You're welcome. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
It's fun. It's fun to go down memory lane because we were together with all those things. We've kind of spent our entire careers together, so I'm going to enjoy this.
Yeah, this should be good. Knock on wood. Admittedly, this segment is called 36 Questions, and while I'm not sure I'll manage to actually ask that many given the time we have, we're going to do our best to cover a lot of ground today. Good. So, this is an event, the 3686 Festival, that is all about entrepreneurs. A quick online search yielded this basic definition of entrepreneur when I looked around. It's a person who organizes and operates a business or businesses, taking on greater than normal risks in order to do so. I want to start with that, taking risks and taking chances. You've done that over the years, and you continue to do so. How has that proved successful or rewarding? Why was it so important to do so? And why is it still important to do so? And I will note that was 4 questions.
Well, I think it all starts with your definition of what an entrepreneur is. For me, it would be someone who sees something that no one else does. That's what an entrepreneur is. Now you got to make it happen. So I think I saw an opportunity watching country music, loving George Strait, Haggard Jones, seeing Freddie Mercury, Kiss, Styx, Kansas. There was an opportunity there, something that you saw. And then when you got into the business, you realized guys like Chris Ledoux, Dwight Yoakam, these guys were having a blast on stage. As much fun as the people in the audience. That's rock. That was always their thing. So how come you can't come out playing country to the bone music, but put it with a good-sized theatrical show and bring your audience the coolest, latest stuff in technology and bring it to them first before the other genres do. So I think that was us as an entrepreneur. We had a vision, and the one thing that we did accomplish through that I will say by far passes any accolade. We were the band that hopefully will be remembered that had more fun than anybody else in history.
You still feel that after all this time?
God, how can you not? How can you not? And all of a sudden now in Detroit, the last stadium show we played before the COVID shutdown, the stage is full 360 flat. Every stage in history is raked. This thing was flat, and you stuck it around the 35-yard line, and all of a sudden what happened was that stadium, I couldn't believe if you just shrunk it, the back end 4 feet, that stadium became a postage stamp. But what they did was all of them wanted your attention at the same time, and they deserve that. I wasn't ready for it. They kicked my ass, and I enjoyed every minute of it. But now the learning process begins. Okay, this thing's flat. You can see all the way through it. Now there is a full front row that's 360 instead of just the front row. Now you got your work cut out for you. Now you're going to have to be younger, faster, stronger, smarter than you've ever been. And at this age, that's a great challenge to present.
Is it important to you that it be fun? It sounds like it is. And has it always been fun?
Yeah, it's always been fun as long as you didn't let the business get in the way of it. But there was sometimes the business got in the way of it. And what you then hope is you get another shot at whatever you were doing when the business got in the way of it. And thank God and the people, they've allowed me that. So we had our run in the 90s. We retired to go home with our children, never thinking we were going to get to do it again. And then got a whole brand new run. It just started over for us again. And so it's cool. It's all the things you really worshiped are still there and you have fun. And all the things you wished you got a second shot at, they gave you one. That's good.
What are some values and traits that you feel are important that have helped you do that and continue to help you do that? I think of things like a willingness to take chances, believing in yourself, setting goals and committing to trying to achieve them. And then, when you do, setting new ones. Yeah. Those are things that I associate with you. I always have, still do, and I think they apply to entrepreneurs.
I think they do too. And any entrepreneur that's watching this knows setting goals, staying true, getting in there, having the vision, all those things are basic ingredients, what you need. What they don't tell you is time. Don't be afraid if it doesn't happen in a week. Know what you're going to do. Know how you're going to do it. And let them bark. Let them just do those fireworks off to the side of your ship that does nothing. Billy Joel said it best. The most she will do is throw shadows at you. That's what barking is. That's what social media is. You know your course. You know where you're going. Stick to it. Because all that barking in a year, when it starts to come to fruition, that barking will become praise, love. And those people that hated you at first will say they've been your biggest fan since day one. You just smile and thank them. But you know the people that's been in your corner. You reward them, keep them close to your side, because if you've reached your goal, you've got a whole new one now in front of you, and you're going to need help getting there.
Can you recall a moment where you got there? Some goal that, was unattainable, was imaginable, but you never pictured yourself achieving. You got there, and then you had to go, oh man, now what? Or maybe there wasn't a now what moment. Maybe you were like, oh cool, now that.
No. There's a now what. The big thing was the gold record. Everybody in this town, when you went into the office, had a gold record. Man, if I could just get a gold record, that'd be so cool. And then you hand you that gold record, and you're like, "Oh crap! This is still pretty new. Maybe I should have thought of something." And you do. You reassess. You reevaluate, and that plays a big part in it. So here's the deal that I want to ask you as a person. I'm going to ask anybody that's listening. When you die, do you want to be waiting around for death? Or would you like 3 or 4 things on that to-do list to be unfinished because you died while playing the game? I don't think any of us want to be sitting around waiting for it. So keep those goals. Keep them, and just keep putting them higher, further out. And then if you pass away and you have 2 or 3 undone, good for you. That meant you went out playing the game at full speed. That's the way I want to go.
Do you have a list like that?
Yeah, you do. But the thing is, the stadium tour is so much all the dreams coming to life. And you look out in the faces on the stadium tour, what kills you is there's someone you'll see that's been with you since day one in the honky tonks. Right next to him is somebody a third their age. But yet both of them are singing the song word for word. And you're like, oh, that's the great thing. So I think what you want to do is just keep pushing it out further and further. How long can you be this person that hopefully is stirring up the waters? So I think that's the push, the challenge. At some point, like Michael Jordan, you got to move from being a competitor to a competitor maybe in the field, the business part of it, at some point. But right now, thank God and the people, I'm still getting to be a competitor for a while.
What do you do to challenge yourself? And are you somebody who does that, who looks in the mirror and goes, no, dude, you can do better. You can do this. You got to try to do this. And if you are that person, I think you are. How do you motivate yourself to be that person? And for you now, that obviously that can take a lot of forms. I mean, we're talking about creating music, finding ways to share, new ways to share music that has been a part of your life and legacy. And even elevate the experience that you're talking about for people who buy tickets and come to see you.
Yeah, as an entrepreneur or as a musician, what you've mentioned is third on the list. Try to remember the first thing is you're a child of God, like all of us are. Second thing is you're a citizen of the coolest country on the planet. Now, that third thing, think about the first two. How is the third thing going to enhance people's lives around you? How's it going to make it good for them that they can pass it on to other people? The ripple effect. How are you going to treat people? And what's the message that your life simply is going to send? So when you sit and talk to these people, they walk out going, Jiminy Christmas, I thought it was all about getting to this level and this level, but the truth is, it's about being sweet to people. It's about listening to people, being empathetic, if that's the right word. And it's about being a member of the human race. There was a book that I encourage everybody to read, Jim Cullen's From Good to Great. It took 8 companies, 4 companies that were kind of alike. One of them did well, one of them didn't do so well. The one thing he finds in common of the 4 that did well was what he calls they got the right people on the bus. And who those people were people you enjoyed showing up every day to work with. So like this interview, I know I'm going to be doing it with you. I come here with a great attitude. I'm happy because good dude, and for 100 years has shown the love for the music and the dream. And you look at the other people in this room, all the best at what they do, but also just a joy to be around. You get that, and there isn't any obstacle you can't overcome when you have a great attitude.
You kind of answered this just now, and I'm going to pose it just the same. How important is it, clearly it is, to be surrounded by the right people and the right team? And I use those words, people and team, alongside words like advisors, voices, sparring partners. What is your team, or being surrounded by the right people, or surrounding yourself with the right people, how has that impacted your life and career? And how and why has that mattered?
Well, let's talk about surrounding yourself by people. So don't make yourself an island, first of all. But what's going to really make you start to think on this is, yes, surround yourself with the best people, good people that are fun to be around, but also surround yourself with the competitors. Surround yourself with people you don't want to be like, because you're learning right there. You can watch them shoot themselves in the foot 800 times. Oh, okay, I just learned that from you. I don't have to do it now, right? So it's all who you surround yourself with. So find those people that you love, admire, and just watch them. Watch them work. For me, Reba McEntire. We go out on tour with Reba McEntire. I play 5 songs, 5 times 3 minutes, 15 minutes. There's my 15, 20 minutes. What do you do with the other 23 and a half hours? You watch her. You watch her at sound check. You watch her, how she runs her business. You watch how she treats her people, how she treats her fans. Entertainment 101, Kenny Rogers. Entertainment 101. Watch these people. So I think you got heroes, Chris Ledoux. Watch what he does. He was unapologetic about how rock and roll his show was, even though he was a cowboy from Wyoming playing country music. Watch Freddie Mercury. Watch him, how unapologetic he is of just being who he is. Now, farm kid from Oklahoma, in love with a guy that clearly was like nobody else in Oklahoma that I'd ever met. But what I loved about him was his courage. His courage to just be who he is. See that future. And don't let all the fireworks pull you off that course. See that future and go, I got to see it, thank God, in everybody that I surrounded myself with.
How important were some of those voices early on when maybe that vision wasn't quite so clear for you just yet?
It's always good. Mom and dad starts with them, right? Yeah. So your mom and dad talk to you about, what's right, what's wrong. Now, I've said this before, the 2 greatest gifts your parents give you, the people you want to be and the people you don't want to be, right? But again, there you go. Surround yourself with people that you can learn from one way or the other. So it starts with them, then your buddies. But the truth is, there's that thing inside yourself that goes, oh, I like this song. Why do I like it? I don't know, but I just love it. So if I'm going to do something, maybe I should do something that has that feel to it. So here comes Bob Seger's music, mixed in with George Strait's music, mixed in with Queen's music, mixed in with James Taylor's music. And then here comes the ladies. Here comes Tammy Wynette, Loretta Lynn. Here comes Dolly Parton, maybe the greatest artist on the planet. And you just see all the courage, all the vision, but the thing they all have in common is no one was going to tell them where their ship was sailing because they already knew. And you know where your ship's sailing. You might not know what the destiny is, but you know where your ship's sailing. You know if your product, whatever it is what the people need, and it's a good product because nobody's thought of it before or used it this way. When you got that, you just hold tight to that steering wheel. You'll be all right.
Okay, so you get to be the captain of that ship now.
Sure do.
Got to have a crew.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of talking about those people. How do you as a leader, as the captain of that ship, motivate them, inspire them, challenge them?
100%.
I don't want to put scenarios or words in your mouth, but I've witnessed and I've been fortunate enough to be on the receiving end once or twice of, can we do this? Knowing how much you really want the answer to be yes, even if the answer in the moment is
nobody's done it.
I don't know, but
right.
Maybe I can figure it out, or we together can, or let me get back to you.
So big movie guy, okay? Yeah. If you've ever seen Seabiscuit, the thing with Seabiscuit was they wanted another horse to come up beside Seabiscuit, let him breathe that air, let him size him up, and then he was going to eventually just kick your ass, right? Well, that's what you do. You line yourself up with people that are so good and competitive at what they do. Just bring them up to the problem. Let them smell that problem. Let them look at it. Let them work it over. And let them know that you do not think for 1 second they're not going to be able to solve it. They might think that. But as long as they know you don't think it, they'll figure it out. And then here's the great thing about being the captain of the ship. Brian Petrie, he's the guy that runs this whole tour, right? Everything he says, copy that. Copy that's what and he gets it done. Then people come to me and go, you're a freaking genius. Well, I didn't do it. Brian Petrie did it. But as a captain of the ship, I'm going to take credit for it, right? But that's the fun thing. We just did a thing with the drive-in theaters because of the COVID thing. This idea was Walter Kinsey's idea. A friend of mine in the business for years, helps us with Teammates Foundations. He says, I wanted these and I want you to be the first guy. I said, I'm in. Because if I'm the first guy and it works, everybody after is going to be looked at, oh, he's doing the Garth thing. I didn't think of that. That wasn't my idea. But now that it worked, everybody's doing the Garth thing. So again, as a captain of a ship, somebody said it best, you get way too much credit, way too much blame. But I'll take the blame because what it is the results of a bunch of people trying their asses off. And if we fail, I'll take that because the people have not made me feel scared of failing. I find a lot of times when you fail, your basic audience gets tighter. They get stronger for you. And what you're doing is you're weeding out the fair weather ones. You can't use this, but it's great. We're in Detroit. I'm wearing a Barry Sanders jersey, 20. And here comes all these guys going, hey, man, if you're supporting Sanders in the 20 election, as in Bernie Sanders, I'm going to burn all your music. And what you want to say is burn it. Because this family doesn't need fuckers that are just here when the sun's shining, right? And so that's the thing. Don't be scared of losing. If you surround yourself with people that losing might make them just fired up and just get even stronger, that when that goal comes, they blow by it 1,000 miles because you lost earlier, not because you haven't lost yet. That's a big thing.
Courage.
Amen.
Yeah. Or lack of fear. Either.
I don't know, man. There was a billboard when I was a kid. We'd take Dad into work every day in Oklahoma City. There was a billboard and it was talking about God, but it said, to fear God is the beginning of wisdom. For me, to fear. Don't confuse fear with wisdom. Those two can go hand in hand because those people go, I got no fear, good luck. I don't want to be on that ride. But if you fear because you're wise, then you'll find a way to beat the fear instead of trying to take it on head on.
Yeah. I'm going to throw another word at you, optimism.
Yes.
This has been a year that has been, to say the least, a little upside down for everyone. No matter what someone's livelihood, someone's business, someone's life. I have to think that one of the biggest challenges that we all face, people who are watching, yourself, me, is remaining optimistic and hopeful. How are you doing that? I know you are. How are you doing it? And why do you think it's so important?
Try to remember the three we've talked about. Musician's number 3. Second is a citizen of the United States, and first is a child of God. When you talk about the basic principles, there's faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these are love. But you're never going to make love if you don't have faith and hope. And I got to tell you, a faith and hope might be the big one. Because Miss Sherwood has a song, says, I don't need to move that mountain. I just need to get to the other side. Hope and faith is what's going to get you to the other side. So and also that hope and faith allows you the courage to continue loving. Because it's in these times, if you abandon love, we're all gone. But the only thing that's going to keep us loving one another is the hope and the faith that we're going to get through this together. So I think you can't have one without the other. So optimism, sugar pills, just, hey, everything's going to be fine, that shit don't cut it. But the people that go, hey, look, dig deep. Look at these people that can't afford to take off work. They're doing it because they want to follow the rules. They want to help each other out. That's the kind of people we belong to. And those kind of people are get on the other side of this. Now all of a sudden, I'm fired up. And it's not a sugar pill. It's not, hey, everything's going to be great. No, I'm pissed and I'm fired up that we're going to get to the other side of this. That's optimism to me.
You mentioned the drive-in shows.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to bounce around a little bit, but you took me in another direction, so now I got to backtrack. And I was going to mention those, and we may talk about them more, but but that was an opportunity that presented itself, or a recent example of one that was brought to you, came to your attention. How do you look at those? People have to be knocking on your door all the time. Garth, would you like to lend your name to this? Can you see yourself doing this? How do you look at those, assess them, and decide if they're right for you? Again, decisions that people in business, entrepreneurs, people taking risks and chances have to do all the time.
Yeah, man, I applaud the courage, applaud the vision, and you're lucky if a lot of people come to you and go, hey man, try this or try and do that. You're in a good spot. In the movie Vice, 9/11 hits and the screen goes black. And the words that come out of it is in every tragedy, there's opportunity. Okay? So when this COVID thing hit, one guy, Walter Kinsey, saw the opportunity. Now, what people were doing before Walter's idea was, hey, we're going to go set up at a drive-in theater, and so we can play for 200 cars, 1,000 people. It's like nobody's going to be able to survive on that. So he goes, no. We do a film solely for these people, and we do it in every drive-in across the nation. Now, all of a sudden, you're talking the possibility of an audience between 500,000 and 750,000 people. Now you're talking money that elevates up to stadium gigs or whatever. All of a sudden, he found a way in it to get it done. And so you want to take that opportunity. You want to do it. And if you're the first one, try to remember this. In competition, look who your competition is. If you think it's the people that's here right now, you're missing two other ones. Everyone that's come before you and everyone that's coming after you. That's the deal. That's who you're competing with. So make sure if you're going to leave that mark, you leave a mark that's bigger than any mark that's ever been there. And you leave a mark that's harder than hell for these guys in the future to erase. And that's what you do. So you see the challenge, you see the window, you see the opening. When you take it, don't just take it because it's a good idea. Take that good idea and make it a monster of an idea that's going to live for years.
I want a couple things that you've been able to be part of, much like the drive-in thing over the last few years.
Yes.
Facebook, taking Facebook Live and from my vantage point, pushing the envelope, always challenging the platform, the people around you who work with you weekly when you use the platform to connect with people, to go, well, can we do this with it? Can we take it this step further? I mean, just last week, you had fans for a 90-minute press conference. You Zoomed live on Facebook. There's one example. I've heard you in a press conference with media a couple of weeks ago. Start to get fired up and see that sparkle in your eyes about virtual reality and where it might factor into entertainment and entertaining that you do in the future. You've challenged people around you for the current stadium tour, from a production and lighting standpoint, to go, okay, I want to enhance the moment, but I don't want to detract. And so you've got the pillars on either end, which are not the biggest thing. They can almost disappear, and yet they can totally be part of the show when you want them to be. These are a handful of examples that come to mind for me of you looking at these ideas and opportunities, but then describing what you just did.
And you make it bigger, better. And again, man, it's the people you surround yourself with. So the formal name is Brian Moore. His nickname's Hashtag, because we have 8 Brians out on tour. So every Brian gets a nickname. His is Hashtag because he does all social media. So Hashtag comes to me and says, hey, Facebook wants to do something called Facebook Live, and they're looking for an artist to launch it. I said, what do you think? He goes, I think this is an opportunity you need to grab. I'm the one that people go, guy was a genius to do it. I'm telling you right now, it wasn't my idea. But because you're on this ship together, part of the crew, part of the ship, right? Part of the ship, part of the crew. We belong to each other on this thing. So this is kind of what we do. So when you talk about live, how do we bring the coolest thing to the people live? Let's point out Denver. So now Denver, I'm sitting there looking at a schematic of the stadium. Out of 80,000, 27,000 are in the upper bowl. The worst seats on the planet. So what do? We get with a bracelet company and only put them on the seats in the upper bowl. Now we call them the Halo. And about 3 or 4 songs in, said, hey, we're pointing out everybody, the floor, everybody's going to, I said, how about you guys up there? And they did good. But when you said, I'll look at you as the Halo tonight, and everything lit up on them, holy cow. Now, the thing you want as an entertainer just happened, because everybody you're looking at is not looking at you. They're doing this, because that's exactly what everybody up there wants them to do. Now, when they do this, they go crazy, rains down on me, goes out the floor, and now here comes this cycle. Does it end up being the best show of my career? Yes, it does. Did the Halo have something to do with it? 100%. The Halo kicked it off. The band has to answer. They give you the ball. You got to run with it. The band answered. It was a beautiful night, all because of just taking a risk, taking a chance, investing, losing money in one area, but what you got back, money can't buy. So it's a great trade.
We're talking about inspiring people, motivating people, and motivating sounds like to me like too technical of a word for what I'm about to point at you, but inspiring works. We can't get lost in this conversation how important it is and what it means to you when your music inspires and motivates people. The dance comes back all the time. Unanswered prayers comes around. There are others. For me, it's 2 tracks off of Sevens.
Okay. How you ever gonna know?
Yeah.
What are your 2?
It's How You Ever Gonna Know.
Oh, really? It was one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I said, yeah. And Do What You Gotta Do. And you wouldn't have a reason to recall this, but Sevens came out in December of 97. I had an opportunity to move to Nashville, which would have taken me 1,000 miles away from family. Not an easy decision to make. Your music helped motivate me. And you know what? It all panned out okay.
Yeah, it did it?
What does it mean to you when your music motivates and inspires people?
I can honestly tell you what it means to me because I know what it means to me as a listener. Try to remember, you're raised on the book of Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John. But high school and college, now you're raised on the book of Aerosmith. You're raised on the book of James Taylor. You're raised on the book of Dan Fogelberg. I had Fogelberg's, that's when they used to put lyrics inside on the sleeves. I had the sleeves pinned to the wall, and where I should be looking in Matthew, Luke, or John, I'd read a verse or 2 off Fogelberg before I'd leave the dorm. I did go out to college. To have somebody inspire your life that way, I worship those guys. So for somebody to take the river, someone to take How You Ever Gonna Know or Do What You Gotta Do, makes me feel that you feel the same way about Garth Brooks as an artist as I do James Taylor, an artist. And if that's true, Hoss, then that's a powerful thing. But I can tell you this, you can buy every bulldozer in the planet, you can buy every architecture, everything, and trust me, it's from the book of Mulan. No matter how much the wind may blow, the mountain cannot bow. But you can put a song like The Dance out, and that mountain just goes away, just crumbles. So as an entrepreneur, if you've got the product, always remember to go back to the product. When you're lost, go back to the product. Go back. What is it that makes your heart happy and makes people all breathe the same air with you, whatever that is, don't get away from that. 'Cause sometimes we try and get too smart. And sometimes we try to outthink things. But the greatest ride on the planet are the ones that have no exhaustion, just no effort. And if you've got it, which we're lucky enough to have the river and Friends in Low Places, that catalog of songs. Just go out and let the catalog of songs do its thing. All you are is a messenger. Takes all the pressure off you, and you get to enjoy the ride at the same time.
Do you believe anything is possible?
Yeah, good and bad. That's tough. Tough. Yes, I believe anything is possible because the truth is, my dad always said this, if you can see it in here, you can make it happen out here. Mom truly believed you could fly if you wanted to. Dad was the guy that would pull you over and go, hey, that flying thing, he wouldn't tell you can't fly. He said, if you're going to fly, it's going to take a lot of damn work. Both of them were right. And so they're within it. You can see it, you can picture it. It's the perfect window for it. It's a home run. There's no such thing. It's going to take a lot of damn work. So roll your sleeves up, get to it, because what's at the end of the journey, the view from where you're trying to get to, it's the most gorgeous view on the planet. It'll take your breath away and it will never get old. Timeless. That's where you're heading.
With that, I think we will wrap 36 questions. And I'm fairly confident that when we go back and check, we'll find that I asked about that many.
I've enjoyed myself, as I always do. I love you to pieces. Thanks for the journey. This is just 1 mile marker on 1,000 more miles we got together.
I agree. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And though I was asked to be part of this in much the same way that you were, I do think it's appropriate to say thank you to you on behalf of the folks at Launch, Tennessee and the 3686 Festival, and on behalf of every person who attended and watched today. So on behalf of them, thank you. And yes, a personal thank you for yet another opportunity to sit down for what we know on paper is an interview, but is always a conversation. I can't believe we still get to do this after 25 years.
Amen.
I'm Maurice Miner. He's Garth Brooks. Thank you for watching.